From buses to the light rail and streetcar, thousands of people take those methods of transportation to work or school every day. But increasingly, we're seeing situations like what you see on the screen there. Gunfires, stabbings, other crimes causing people to fear for their safety on public transit. As part of the budget process, the interim CEO of the Charlotte Area Transportation System spoke to Mecklenburg County commissioners last night about money used to make these rides safer.
It's something our WBTV Investigates team has reported extensively on for the past several years. Mary Calkins live on this story with more this morning. Mary, we know stepped up security also takes extra money.
That's right, Mary, and that was a big part of interim CEO Brent Cagle's message before commissioners last night.
We believe it's so important to, again, double the spending we have on safety and security, hire new contractors, but also really double the resources.
Cagle said safety and security are focused on 3 areas. New security contracts doubling the number of armed and unarmed guards, as well as stepped-up help from CMPD. The Ambassador Program, which are people throughout the transit system to help answer passenger questions so that drivers are not distracted and there are fewer frustrations between drivers and passengers that could end up escalating. And finally, the Cats Connect program. These are issues among riders that don't require a law enforcement response. Staff members can help identify people in need and help connect them to organizations, nonprofits, and others who can help provide services.
Law enforcement response just won't resolve some of these issues that we see. And some of those issues, quite frankly, are folks with mental illness or addiction or the unhoused will use transit as a shelter, right, as a place of refuge.
Now, ultimately, the budget is still a work in progress. You can count on WBTV to continue following these programs and digging into whether they make your ride on buses and trains safer. Reporting live in Huntersville, Mary Calkins, WBTV, on your side.